Welcome to our last and final info session that's going to be hosted by the School of Engineering here. Today's info session is hosted by our mechanical engineering department. And so really, again, whether you're joining us live today or you're watching this as a recording, we want to make sure that all of your questions are being answered as we start to move into the fall semester. It's just over about a month away from here. And so we know that there's probably a lot of questions out there. And so we want to just make sure that we're available and accessible to you all. This does not end our conversations. This, again, we will continue to be accessible if you have questions after today. And again, if you're joining us here on YouTube, watching this as a recording, feel free to email us or email me directly, and I'll make sure that you get all of the answers to any questions that you might have. My email address is dscott2@citadel.edu. For those that joined a little early, today's format is going to largely depend on the questions that you have. I mean, we're gonna make a few brief statements here in terms of things that you might want to think about getting prepped for the fall. But really, today's conversation is going to center around the questions and things that you need us to talk to. So before we get into that, we are joined by our department head of our mechanical engineering department, Dr. Robert Rabb, as well as one of our other faculty members, Dr. James Ryder, and then your superstar that you're going to hear about a little later, Miss Kristen Segalis, who's going to be your chief advocate for your next 4 years. So Dr. Rabb, if you want to take it from here.
All right, thank you, Derek. I'd like to share my screen here. Let's see.
You have co-host.
Okay, so everyone should have the screen up right here. So welcome, like Derek said, this is your info session on mechanical engineering, your chance to ask us some questions, but I really hope it opens up some dialogue with all of us here. So first of all, I'd like to introduce you to some of our faculty. This is just some of them, but these are going to be your instructors. So when you come here and you take your Mech 101 Intro to Mechanical Engineering, the first column you see right there, and Dr. Ryder, those will be your instructors. So you'll get a chance to meet them here very shortly next week, I think, as we start doing some virtual orientations with you over the next 3 weeks in this month. Those of you in the honors program, you'll be working with Dr. Reagan. She does a lot of your scheduling and kind of makes everything fit in, but many of you will have her for class, and some of you, like I said, that will be associated with the honors program will have her. Derek's already spoken about Ms. Segalis, so she's our student success coordinator. Those of you that kind of needed, want to know what kind of resources we have here, other things to kind of help you out academically. She's a great person. She came from the campus-wide Student Success Center, and we snagged her a little bit over a year ago to help us here in the department. So you see her live in person right there on your screen as well. These are just some of our faculty. All of them are great. They're masters at their craft right here. So you're going to have a top-rate faculty. And these are the faculty advisors that will be with you for all 4 years. All right, so you start with them, you're going to finish with them. Here's some of the other faculty down here, just kind of round it all out. We've brought in 2 more folks who are still setting up their offices downstairs. But all of them, like I said, are great. You notice that half of us have PE after our name, so we're licensed professional engineers. So we've got an extra credential to help us out, but we've got that extra piece behind us right there. We're not just all academics, so half of us are licensed to go out there and stamp off on engineering design. All right, so what's the best ways to get through here? Well, we've got 2 of them. You're going to see some civilian people walking around on campus here. We've got veterans. You'll see them in civilian clothes. We have active duty. They'll be in uniform, but just represent their different branches. And you'll see some of the evening students pop up here in campus every now and then, especially late in the afternoons as their classes are getting ready to begin. But for you as cadets, you'll come here, get indoctrinated into the campus life, all the do's and the don'ts, and be familiar with all the things here to help you be successful. Of course, there's going to be some academics, and we got a very engaging curriculum. We've also have some other enrichment activities going on out there, and we can talk about some of those. And then you'll get a graduate. So with our other students here, our 2+2, they'll do 2 years at a technical college, and then they'll switch over into the junior and senior level classes with us. So how's it, what's your formula for success? As we look at this thing, it's pretty standard among all the curricula here in engineering, but especially true anywhere that you go. We just do it a little bit better here in the School of Engineering at the Citadel. I saw the message pop up as I never had calculus. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, but you got to be proficient in high school math and science, have a good foundation. If you haven't had it, we've got ways to make you successful. You go through our ABET engineering curriculum. We just went through a big self-study to get ready for a re-accreditation that'll happen this next academic year. And the third thing right here in the middle, it's there for a reason. It takes hard work, dedication. All right, you got to do your work. And then there's also some fun things that you can do here, the enrichment activities. And when you get done, there'll be some great career opportunities. I can't tell you how many times this summer I've already got calls and emails from people still looking to fill their ranks with some of our graduates, even interns. We'll take them as interns. We've got a great program here, so we have a very hands-on curriculum. So one of the things we get to do is our mini Baja. If you watch a video that I think will be released next week on the virtual orientation, you'll see some of the great things that we do for our senior design projects. We're not going to come out of here making you master welders or any type of certification, anything like that, but you do get a chance to engage in some of these nice team building activities and some of these competitions. Speaking of competition, this is a banner year for us. So one of the things we have here on campus is a Bulldog Business Bowl run by the School of Business. We took first and second place, so we got $15,000. Here's the $10,000 check for this thing. You see John here on the right holding up his wall crawling robot. He just came in here last week, still in the area. He's got his grandparents visiting, and he wanted to show it to them, so he grabbed it last week. But they want $10,000 for this design, $10,000 to start up a company if they wish. Second prize was a traffic device, was a filter device. So they got $5,000 for that. We've had other groups had a lot of interest in some outside organizations, a traffic solver, so you don't have the sleepy guy holding up the slow and the stop sign at construction sites. And perhaps some of you have seen the robotic hand. I've got it right here across my desk from me, but this made national newspapers, got picked up by the Associated Press, so everywhere from California, New York, Washington, D.C., this sort of got picked up. But I just want you to see the type of activities that our students do and the type of recognition that they get. So this is all steered a whole lot by that great faculty and that great team I showed you earlier. All right, internships, we go everywhere, we do everything. All right, so companies are still calling us up, they want interns. We've got some high adventure ones. We've got people working up 300 feet up on towers. If any parents are watching, don't worry, it's all very safe. They're all very well trained for that. We got folks working in the energy business. And this group down at the bottom right, the company, just because of what's going on, they didn't reach out to us this year, but the past couple of years, they've taken our students all over the place. And these students down here in the bottom right, we're out at Kwajalein Atoll out in the Pacific for a few months here, but they were making some great money. I think with the per diem and everything, one of the students told me he was making like about $40 an hour out here. So that's definitely, credit to our program, our students, and our partnerships with industry. So at this point, I'm going to kind of turn this thing off and turn it over to you. This is an old screen capture I got here, so maybe you'll see yourself on here, but I'll stop sharing and turn it over and let you think of your questions, but I'll engage a few of them that have already popped up.
Hey, Dr. Rapp, thanks for doing that. Let me jump in real quick. So there's a few more people that joined in on the call. I did forget to mention this as we've gotten started. If you have any questions as we're going along, feel free to post those right here in the group chat. We see that there's a couple. We might not get to them immediately, but I promise we will make sure that they're answered before we conclude today. So Thank you for that. Do we want to have Dr. Ryder introduce himself since he's joining us?
Sure. Dr. Ryder.
Sure. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. James Ryder. I'm a assistant professor here in mechanical engineering. This is my second year here at the Citadel, coming out of Clemson, and looking forward to getting to know you and advising you here in the fall.
Great. And earlier I kind of mentioned that you guys are going to have a superstar that's going to be your partner over the next 4 years. We're incredibly fortunate to have student program advisors or student program coordinators in each of our different majors. And we've got Kristen Segalis joining us, and she's going to be your chief advocate in terms of helping with advising, connecting you to important campus resources and all of that. So Kristen, if you just want to jump in here.
Sure. Hey, all. Nice to meet you. So I am your student success advisor. So I noticed we had some comments about calculus, people being concerned about that. Is that correct? Your main thing that you want to do as soon as you get here is start getting tutoring. So we have a student success center. It's awesome. There are math tutors there. In fact, we have someone that is a MEC graduate who is in MEC grad school right now, and he can tutor you in calculus, and that's what I recommend you do. We also have these groups called supplemental instruction, and they meet in the evenings during your study time. I recommend you go to those as well so you can get additional instruction and ask questions and get all the help that you need, because the most important thing is to get help right away. So if you're having issues. So if you need help with that, come to me. I am on the 3rd floor in Grimsley, and you'll get to know me. Nice to meet y'all.
Thanks so much for joining us, Kristen, today. The other thing that I would say too about thinking about math in general is if you think about it as a language, you know, we're going to help you become proficient in that. And so there's no gene that predetermines that you can't learn math or you can't do well in calculus. If you think about other languages, everybody says, oh, well, I can't learn German, or I can't learn Chinese, or I can't, I'm sorry, Canton, I'm sorry, whatever they speak in China. But if you think about math in terms as a language, you can't say that you can't do it, because if you're born in Germany, 99.9% of all people that are born and lived in Germany somehow learn German. So it's our job to help you become fluent in the mathematics language. And so we've got great campus resources here that will help you with all of that. And again, Kristen's here as your chief advocate, making sure that we're doing the best that we can to connect you with all the different campus resources here, and there's quite a bit, and we're still learning of new ones, you know, every semester. So, you know, check in with us. Please let us know if you're having any issues. Both Kristen, your faculty, and myself, if you see me running around the halls, which I promise you will. So with that, I think Dr. Rab wanted to jump into our questions. Why don't we take our next one? So Dr. Rab, you talked a little bit about the internships that we've seen in the past. What are some of the current ones that we were seeing from this past year? And I know that we just added a new one over at Hytrol.
Yes, so I'll start off with the Hytrol. So Citadel graduate last fall approached us. He has a large company out in Arkansas that manufactures a lot of the conveyor systems that you see in these industrial warehouses. So think Amazon. His big customer right now is Wayfair, FedEx, all those places. So all those boxes that are going down those lines right there are being diverted into different zip codes for shipping out and stuff. So they manufacture a lot of that stuff. So what we do here is we also teach controls engineering. So he was very interested that we had a mechanical engineering program. It didn't exist back when he was here. So he asked for some students he could hire directly and for some interns. So he came out here with his company jet and flew, I think, 6 of us back. And we went to the factory, toured it. He interviewed the students that afternoon. He gave a couple of job offers and an internship offer, and those students are out there right now at the company. So it was a pretty good deal. He made it happen pretty quickly, so he delivered on everything that he said. That was a nice new one that popped up this year. Here across town, we also have the Naval Information Warfare Center. So it used to be called SPAWAR, but they do a lot of the Navy encryption stuff, but they deal with a lot of equipment, communication equipment, things like that. But they hire a lot of our mechanical engineers. We have a good relationship with their employers, but they bring them on as interns, see if they're a good fit, and usually try to spin that off into a full job offer the next year. We've got several of the energy companies in the area that have reached out to us. We've got a few of the architectural engineering firms here. So you would think that they only hire civil engineers, but somebody's got to design all the power requirements, all the HVAC in the building and stuff to make it comfortable so people can be productive when they work. So we've got a few A&E firms that have been hiring our engineers left and right.
All right, thanks for that, Dr. Rabb. Seeing a couple really good questions out there, and I'm gonna kind of combine these. So, what's going to happen if we go to a distance learning situation? I think that's a really good question because inevitably we always get the hurricane that we have to shut down for, and we're getting questions about technology. So, our ITS, our Information Technology Services team, has a list of specifications out there as well as a recommended system that you can purchase through Dell. It's not required, but again, they've got minimum system requirements out there and another suggested computer setup via laptop that you can purchase through our Dell contract. We've posted that at our main website, so citadel.edu/engineering. And if you scroll down, you'll see tech requirements, or you'll see links that will take you to that page. I've also posted that here in the chat room. For remote learning situations, what we recommend first is that you have, all laptops now and all tablets should really have the webcam microphone. So that way you can access the services that will still be provided to you in the event that we go remote. So I'm seeing we got a really good question from Ashley here about distance learning situations. What we are going to do is we're going to duplicate all of the learning services and experience that you would have, and we will take those online. So yes, tutoring, SI, and all of that will still be made available to you, and that's what we've seen this past semester. And then in terms of technology, we've been asked to tell everybody no Chromebooks whatsoever. Unfortunately, Chrome is just completely incompatible with a lot of the systems that we use here on campus. And then again, if you have additional questions in terms of what your system should look like, it's both on our main engineering homepage, or you can search Citadel Information Technology Services, and that'll link you directly to their site. Or you can always give them a call at 843-953-HELP. And then they can talk through a little bit more about the systems that you have. We really recommend PCs. We've been noticing that there's been some hiccups with Macs. If you do have a Mac, we'll certainly try to help you the best that we can, or send you over to ITS, but we are noticing that some students are actually struggling a little bit as we've been migrating our learning management systems over to a new platform, and we've made some updates to our systems as well. So PCs recommended. We know that everybody's not going to have a PC, but we've got a great information tech services team here on campus that can certainly work with you on finding solutions. So Kristen, did you want to add anything to that about the distance learning, tutoring, and all of that, and what you saw this past semester?
Yes. Well, so we did have to go remote unexpectedly, and it actually, hold on, let me get my video going here. It actually worked really well. So through the Student Success Center, we had tutors, and they did it just like this via Zoom, one-on-one. I found that the students thought those sessions were extremely helpful, and our students did very well when they went online. In fact, I had some students that did better. So it was extremely effective, and I think that's definitely what they're going to do. Not I think, I know they will be doing it. In fact, we even have it this summer, and we have it via Zoom. So don't worry about that. Another thing that was very helpful for my students that were working with calculus, and all of y'all are going to be doing that for a while, they work together too in teams, and helping each other out, getting someone that you find in class that's really good in it and working with that person helps a lot. You want to work with someone that is at an ability level that's a little bit higher than you, and that's how you get good at it. Just like, let's say you're learning tennis, you want to play with someone that's better than you so you can improve more quickly. So that's super effective as well.
Yeah, can I add on to this?
Of course.
Absolutely.
All right, so Mr. Fly, I guess, asked a question there about remote tutoring. So you're looking at it, Mr. Fly. So when I have office hours, this is exactly what it's going to be like. I'm going to have this thing open. People are going to be able to join this little meeting right here. Let me tell you, it's going to be probably a little bit more effective than somebody doing a drop by into my office, because it's going to be a little bit more deliberate. But, you know, my ability now to have, you know, maybe 5 or 6 students that I can reach out to and deliver that same message to is going to be a lot better than, you know, 5 or 6 people showing up at my door waiting to come in because they think that they have a different question. So you're looking at how we're going to do this if we have to go remote. And I will tell you that when we had to go remote, I was in here every day. All right. So sometimes 6 days a week, but whatever it takes to make the students successful, we'll do that. And Ms. Gallus and I ran the numbers yesterday, and we actually had in mechanical engineering a 0.2 increase overall between the fall and the spring semester. So our students actually kind of did better because it was a little bit more deliberate. They had to engage remotely. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to go get the notes from my buddy or anything like that. In some ways, it kind of worked out very well.
Mm-hmm. He's right. It did. We're pleased. It just takes effort, you know. If you're willing to work hard, you will do fine. Really, I mean, I know it sounds simple, but it really is.
So changing up the gears a little bit, I think, you know, coming here, not being an engineer myself, and hearing a lot of the questions that we get from students that are considering the Citadel, what are some of the disciplines that students can, or some of the tracks that students can learn about or specialize in while at mechanical? Specifically, we get a lot of questions about composites and different materials and things like that, aviation, avionics systems, manufacturing. Can you talk a little bit about that and what students might be able to specialize when they're here?
Yeah, certainly. So we have 5 what we call focus areas here, and it's power and energy, mechatronics, composites or advanced materials, manufacturing, and then aerospace or aeronautical. So when you take these courses, it's not going to make you an expert in any one of them. You're not going to get a minor in aero or anything like that. But we have some freedom in our curriculum so that if you have an area of interest, you can go take those classes and explore it a little bit deeper. The nice thing about it is that you're going to be exposed to all 5 areas. So let's take this scenario. When you graduate, you turn around and want to go work for Boeing up the road here. Hey, great, except they're not hiring right now. But you've been exposed to manufacturing, so you go 10 miles further up the road right here to the Mercedes or Volvo plant, and great, but they're not hiring you. Then you go further up the road to Duke Energy or Santee Cooper. You've been exposed to all of these areas before you graduate. So that's the nice thing about our curriculum. You know, you're not going to go out there and be a technician, you know, a mechatronics technician. That we don't develop technicians here, we develop engineers. So you're the person that can work on the design, you're the person that can supervise those technicians. So there's a difference between, you know, when you talk about avionics, I heard that word come up. That's a very specialized area. And our faculty right here, even those with the aero background, will be the first ones to tell you, go get a mechanical engineering degree. And after you've been out in industry a little bit or got that degree, if you really think that you want to be an aero, go in the aero field, then go get a master's in aero. And Boeing will tell you that they hire mechanical, civils, industrials, project managers, and a few aeros. So there are some disciplines that are very focused, and we will tell you that mechanical is one of the broadest of all those engineering disciplines. And we have faculty that will teach electrical classes, civil classes. I just got done teaching a construction class this past semester. I also have taught in project management. So as a mechanical engineer, you're setting yourself up for a whole breadth of opportunities.
All right, well, thanks for telling us about those tracks. Again, like I said earlier today, at the start of our presentation here, or start of our info session, really, we're here to answer questions. And so I'm looking out at the group chat. It's been pretty quiet out there. So again, I want to take a moment and just remind everyone that our conversations do not end here. This is our last opportunity to really connect with you outside of all of the academic programming that's about to start for the fall. So again, if you have questions after today, or if, again, if you're joining us by YouTube here, watching this as a recording, and you have any questions about anything you may have heard, you've seen out on the web, you've heard in the news, feel free to contact me directly at dscott2@citadel.edu, and I will certainly make sure that I find answers to any questions that you might have. Again, we just want to make sure that you feel supported and that you're successful on day one when you get here in the fall. So we'll pause here for a moment, see if there's any last questions out there. What were the areas? Okay, so Cameron just wants us to recap the areas that you just named.
All right, so the first one is power and energy. And we do have our faculty member came from Cummins Turbo, so she teaches an engine class, but we also deal with the mechanical side of generating electrical power. We have manufacturing. We have composites, advanced materials. So on that side, we have an autoclave right behind my office that we can make our own, carbon fiber components. We also have mechatronics, that's my area, so dealing with a lot of the automation and the robotics. And we also have the aeronautical, so we deal with lightweight structures, the physics of flight, so to speak.
All right, Cameron, I certainly hope that that answered your question. And if you're interested in any more detail about any of those specific disciplines, go ahead and just shoot me an email at dscott2@citadel.edu. And again, we'll make sure that we have answers to any questions that you might have on that. Again, we'll just pause here for a moment and see if there's any more questions that pop into our chat.
I want to put a plug in for math preparation. So math, I've got a college junior and a high school senior right now, and a 9-year-old who's working math problems. But, math's a perishable skill. So if you don't use it, you lose it. And I had to convince my son of that. So right now there are some free online math workshops that are offered here by the Citadel. They're free. And there's sample tests you can take, things like that. So I would encourage all of you to get on the math website and refresh some of your math skills. Even if you've got, calculus 1 credit or something of that sort, but you did it perhaps a year ago, there's nothing wrong with going in there and spending a few minutes, a few hours a week before you get here to go and sharpen up some of those skills.
Absolutely, and I think that that's a great point that you make, Dr. Rabb. If you think about your education as, as expensive as a car, if you know you're about to buy this new car and you need mud flaps and the interior the carpet inserts, whatever, and you need accessories for your car, you start getting prepped before you go to the dealership. So same thing with this now, is that you're going to need a refresher on some math and those sorts of things. Go ahead and make those preparations now for when you get here, because again, Think of your investment in education. I mean, the cost of it is on par with what you'd think a nice vehicle would be. So you wouldn't go out and buy a car and not have everything that you need in advance. So we would say the same to you now, is if you know you're about to get a nice car, you know, you'll buy all the accessories that you need. So when you get the car, you just throw everything in. So again, we would encourage you to do all that you can do to start prepping now, not only for math, but PT and all that other stuff, which will be covered in the freshman orientations pretty soon. They'll go through all of that. You know, for everybody that's joining us today, I don't see any other questions. I haven't gotten any emails here. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Rapp, for your time today and for Mechanical Engineering hosting this last question and answer info session. Thank you to Dr. Ryder, and thank you for Kristen for your remarks about what students can do successfully. And again, for everybody that's joining us on our YouTube recording, thanks for taking the time and watching this. And again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask those to us, to me, your faculty, or anybody else that you might encounter here at the Citadel. Again, we're all here for your success. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have a safe and fun 4th of July weekend, and we look forward to seeing you in the fall very soon. Take care, everyone.